Well, when the parade came along, there were a couple of things that needed to be attended to. One, you had to raise the money for the parade, and that became an increasing challenge over time, and so the Smilin Irishman contest and other things were created to help generate cash for that, and in addition to the Friendly Sons, who were always the best marching group, but I think we're never allowed to win the award in consecutive years for obvious reasons, but we also had the police and the fire department and various other lesser Irish organizations participate in the parade as well. Almost immediately, Mike Neal was nominated and by acclamation accepted as the parade master for life, because he was the best at giving orders to people. As long as you could get them lined up in a row in their green blazers and black slacks, white shirts, tie, and a cap, preferably with a button, but many without buttons. And so he was the parade master for life, and Reidy was the songmaster for life for obvious reasons. He could remember the words. And then you had various efforts over time to create new songs in order to help us compete for various awards then being made by the judges of the parade. And there's nothing a drunk Irishman likes more than the idea that you can somehow sing for your supper. And so we did that with some aplomb, and we worked it into our marching routine each year as part of our presentation to the podium at the end or toward the end of the parade. But we always had a good turnout. Over time, the city became somewhat more difficult to deal with in terms of when we could gather, where we were gathering, what we could do in the spot that we gathered in terms of bringing alcohol and kegs of beer and so on. And so there have been adjustments over time, but the spirit has always remained the same. Some of us, eventually our knees were not as happy with us marching for hours, and so we took a less active role, but for a long time it was absolutely a mandatory deal. And indeed, as I said, we would go to the black tie dinner on Friday night and then get a room, usually at the Grand, and then go up to the park the next morning to begin preparing for our march under General Neal's careful eye, and with Michael Joseph Reidy's guidance on the singing of the appropriate songs each year. So needless to say, there was a movement afoot to stop the Friendly Sons from winning all the awards every year, and so they've decided to give some awards out from time to time to other people besides us, not based on merit, but based on inclusiveness. Larry Cronin, the merchant of Dublin, always had stuff for sale while he was alive, and usually at the lunch a month before, he would have his portfolio out of shirts and walking sticks and so on, and that was carried forward even after his passing. But he was quite a character and a very good Irishman, and Foley has carried on as well in that tradition.